Hello out there, I'm Julie. Welcome to my channel, Birdhouse Tarot. This is my very first video and I'm going to be doing a deck review. This channel is going to have a bunch of deck reviews, maybe some tarot readings for your consideration. But I love tarot, I collect tarot, and I needed to do something with all of my decks. So I decided to start reviewing them. I'm going to have a blog eventually, but I'm starting with the video. And the first deck I am going to review is The Influence of the Angels Tarot by Jody Baginski-Barbesi. This has been in my collection for a long time, but I never used it until now. And truth be told, I'm very bad about reading the little books that come with it. This is a deck that you're really going to want to read the book with because, and I'm not into angels, so I have no idea why I bought this, but I'm really glad that I did. It comes with a nice book. It's nice and thick. It's small enough you can keep it in your bag. What I really like about it is it explains that every single card has a named angel, and they explain who the angel is, what it means, and then how it relates to the card. And then here it even shows you what the symbols mean within the card, which I love. I absolutely love that, because then you can take this meaning and apply it to so many different tarot decks. So you have the water, the dolphin, what that means. Here's the direct meaning of the card, the shadow meaning of the card, the angelic message. For such a small book, it's really packed with information, and reading it without knowing all about the angels and the symbols, it's a great read. If you can read it knowing all of this, it is going to be such an in-depth tarot to read with, okay? I would even say if you're a beginner, and if for some reason you don't want to start with the Rider-Waite-Smith, which I suggest you always start with the Rider-Waite-Smith, you could pick up this deck, pick up this book, and really have a great learning deck right here for a first deck, okay? I love this. I do love this. The cards themselves have this gold gilding. It kills me. I don't mind decks that have like a painted edge, but this kind of gilding, it's really sharp. I am not a fan of it. It's beautiful. The card will wear well, but I don't know if you're seeing it too much here, but it's that kind of plasticky coating I'm not such a fan of, but none of this deters me from using the deck. They are thick. These are going to wear well. You're going to have this deck for a very long time. The deck shuffles nicely. It shuffles nicely. Nice overhand shuffle. Let me put that so you can see. You can see that it's not that best kind. The cardstock is not the best for that kind of shuffling. They're kind of clumpy, right? But that's okay. I mean, again, it's not going to stop me from using this deck. And I'm really glad that I pulled this out and decided to review it, because I do think this is a deck I want to learn more about. I want to learn more about the symbology in it. I want to learn more about the angels in it. And again, learning about these angels, learning about these symbols, it's only going to help you with all the other decks. So, I don't know if you're a riffle shuffler. Let's see how these shuffle. If you shuffle like this. Yeah, I mean, that'll work, right? That'll work. And then, if you just pull out, that works too. So I really like them. I really enjoy using them. And again, this is a deck I would recommend for a beginner, even like a complete beginner, a complete novice. This book is really informative, and it's going to have you reading pretty quickly. Though again, and I'm going to probably say this in every video, I feel everybody should start with the Rider-Waite-Smith. But if you don't want to, The Influence of the Angels Tarot is a great deck to start with. And now let's get into the major arcana and the minor. So here is the major arcana of The Influence of the Angels, and I always break my major arcana down into 3 rows. The reason I do that, and I'm not going to get into it here, but if you're curious, I suggest reading 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack. It just has to do with the breakdown. This has to sort of do the first row with society. And then this is sort of that breakdown and rebirth as we start on a new journey. And then this is sort of that unity with true self and source. And that's a very, very basic interpretation of it, without going too much into it. But I always pull the Fool out, and then it's 3 rows of 7 cards. And what I really like to do is just kind of look at each individual card, how they relate to each other, how they sit with each other. I find it interesting that the Hangman, seeking illumination, is hanging right above the sun. I find it interesting that the Chariot, Temperance, and World are right above each other, sort of like we're going on this journey to find inner balance and wholeness, if you will. So I always kind of look for positioning like that. The Hermit above the Tower. This sort of feels to me, you know, if we go within and we start to really seek that inner guidance, when the moments come, when it's time for a deconstruction period, we can either gracefully fall knowing where we're heading, or just kind of lose ourselves in it. So the Hermit sort of illuminates that period. So I always find that really interesting. But here's a nice little overview of all the cards in the Major Arcana. And I think that this Fool card really is one of my favorites. And the Magician as well. The Magician is just beautiful. Very simple, but very powerfully done. Let's see what other cards in here do I really like. They're all kind of beautiful in their own right. I love Judgment. I love Judgment. It's a beautiful card too. So those are just some of my personal favorites. But here is sort of an overview of them. And then we'll move on to the next suit. Or we'll move on to the suits, I should say. So here we have the Suit of Wands. And what I like the best about this is how it starts with the Ace of Wands and how it's ending with the King. And obviously all the suits start with the Ace and the end with the King. But it feels to me as if this King here is this guy drawing up the power from the fire, right? He's drawing up the power from the fire symbol. He is taking advantage of the potential that lies within him. And he goes through his complete journey until he's at the end. And here it looks like he may be a little bit upset that he has gone on this journey. He's gotten to where he wants to be, but he's sort of burdened down now by these responsibilities where he wants to go back out and experience and do and travel. But as the King, he is responsible. So he's having to learn to temper that water, or he's had to learn, to temper that fire with some water to kind of fizzle it out a little bit, to calm that fire down within him, because he does now have these responsibilities. He is responsible for all the people in his care as a king. I don't feel like these two necessarily belong together, this King and Queen, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. You know, I'm sure there are times in a reading where you're going to pull both of them, but usually they're set with other cards. Let's see, what else do I like in here? I think the Six of Wands is really fun. I just think that's a fun Six of Wands. And the Five of Wands, I like that it's sort of a competition. And the angel is just kind of watching them, letting them do their thing, knowing that they're going to learn lessons throughout this sort of game that they're playing. The Three of Wands is pretty true to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Though I see there's like water and then land on the other side of it. So I do find that to be interesting. So that is the Suit of Wands. Those are just some of the little things that I've noticed that stand out to me. And we will go on to the swords next. Okay, so here we have the Suit of Swords. We start with the Ace and we end with the King, like we always do. What I find interesting is in these two cards, and I'm trying to see if they are in any others. I think mostly these two. The angels in the corners actually have their arms crossed, sort of like they're not intervening during this time. And what I like about that is it says to me, it's sort of up to you to make these decisions and choices. Like, you have to work through that heartache, you know? You have to make choices that are difficult sometimes. And as much as you may want someone to do it for you or divine intervention to have it happen or make it happen, you can't. It's sort of saying you have to kind of go through that yourself. And I really like that. I love this page here with his bubbles. Swords being the mind, intellect. It feels like, you know, fleeting thoughts. There's like all these little thoughts going by and you have to catch them really quick or they're going to pop and float away. And with swords having so many ideas and thoughts and things going through their heads, it's very important to capitalize on an idea that you really feel drawn to when it comes up and not procrastinate or put it to the side. I love this Ace of Swords. I took some classes with Bonnie Mitchell. Well, not classes, but I was on her Discord for a little while. And she talked about the Ace of Swords of having to invoke ideas, having to call upon help. And this really feels like that to me. And even the angels are looking up for for higher help. But if you ask for the help, it'll be there. But even if the help comes, sometimes you're going to have to get through some of the stuff on your own and take those first steps by yourself before that help will come in. And that's sort of how I read that. But I just think this is great. Love the swords. Definitely rings true to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Let's see, anything else in here? I do like the Nine of Swords. This really does feel like, you know, she's laying in bed and she's dreaming about or worrying about these things that may happen. She's worried about, you know, the dying of her old ways, right? You know, being the sheep. The sheep is now dead. Who is she now? I kind of like that dreaminess, that dreamy quality to that card. So these were the swords, and then we're going to move on to the cups. So here is the suit of cups. Start with the ace, end with the king. The ace is just very simple, straight to the point, love, right? Cups, fill your cup with love. We have the Two of Cups. What I like about this Three of Cups is that circle in the background. It just feels like abundance is always available when it comes to love. Four of Cups. Four of Cups stays very true to Rider-Waite. Now the Five of Cups is interesting because this almost looks like what happens if you take that fourth cup. It's just like, I'm done. I'm over it. There's nothing left to give. And it's sort of like the remnants of having stayed in a situation longer than you know you should have. And being drained of all the energy and love that you had to give. I love the Seven of Cups. Very much makes me think of pick your poison. And it's going to be necessary to make sure that you pick correctly, because what may look like an innocent libation may end up being something that leads to your demise. So I kind of like that feeling of that card. I do really like this Eight of Cups. Having understood our limitations, we're moving on towards finding our fulfillment and our contentment. And he reminds me very much of the Hermit. So understanding our limitations because of having achieved or been able to see things from a higher perspective. And I don't really have much. I'm not a huge fan of all these court cards. He just looks like he's a little drunk to me. They look a little bored. I think I would have liked to have seen them maybe have slightly more merriment to them, perhaps more akin to these, because where they're young and in love here, it just feels like they're ready to part ways over here. Yeah, so that is the suit of cups. I don't really have much more to say on it, but we are going to be moving over to the Pentacles next. So here we are with the Pentacles, Ace to King. Sorry, that was my dog if you heard that noise in the background. What I really love about this is the Three of Pentacles, in the suit of Pentacles, I love the Three of Pentacles because it's very much a master and his apprentice. And I think that bond, that relationship between the two of them very much is a beautiful way of viewing the Pentacles. Let's see, what other ones in here do I love? I do like the Ten of Pentacles, though this feels more like inheritance to me. And they're very comfortable. They've achieved their wealth and they can kind of go and do what they want, but it feels like they inherited this. They didn't necessarily work for it, but they could have. Like if I have it, you know, these are 7 and 7 and the 3 is above the 10. So they very well could have worked for this, but this child is going to be gaining a good inheritance. I kind of read that card that way. This hasn't come up too much in any of my readings that I've done with this deck. So intuitively, I don't really necessarily have any feeling one way. It's just looking at that initially, that's what it made me feel. I love the Nine of Pentacles. I really like this page. This is sort of reminiscent of a child kind of tinkering with different things, trying to find his path, and then eventually finding his path and learning, being the apprentice. And then when he gets to the place of the king, he is in his prime. He has done the work. He is now the master. What's interesting here is these two angels are looking down on him like, don't be so selfish, dude. You need to give away some of that money, right? Here it feels like this person may have given it away, but as he's gotten older, it feels like he may have gotten a little stingy. That's just the energy that I get from it. And I really do like this queen. She is the queen of her home. She has built a beautiful home for her family. Her work is not necessarily material. She is very spiritual because she's connected to nature. She is connected to the home and the connections with other people and the earth as well. So I get really good energy from this queen. So that is it for all of the suits. This deck, I really enjoyed working with it. I know if I were to read the book, I would get a whole lot more of it or out of it because I do not know the symbolism and the names of all of these angels yet. And I know that plays a big part into this, but even without knowing that, I really enjoy reading with this deck and I do highly recommend it. So go ahead and let me know what you think down below. If you like it, give me a big thumbs up and I'll see you next time. Cheers.